Councillor Vodden. Councillor Knott, all in favor? Carried. Disclosure of pecuniary interest, if any. None noted. Moving to the consent agenda. Is there anything? You'll move it. Seconder, Councillor Ritzman-Dominguez. Is there any discussion on any of the points in the consent agenda? All in favor? Carried. Okay. No. Okay, where's that? Responsibilities 5. Okay. Okay, a motion to adjourn the regular council temporarily.
Thank you.
Councillor Knott, Councillor Vodden, all in favor? Carried. Okay, moving into the okay. We're going to move into the Planning Advisory Committee meeting now and call to order. Disclosure of pecuniary interest, if any. None noted. 3, this is a joint meeting for 1, Official Plan Amendment 11 to the North Huron Official Plan, Plan 414, Parts Lot 6 and 7, West Center Street, Registered Plan 22R5898, Part 1, or 13 John Street East. And the second part is the zoning bylaw amendment, Plan 414, part lot 6 and 7, West Center Street, Registered Plan 22R5898, Part 1, Wingham Ward, Township of North Huron, 13 John Street East. The purpose of this public meeting is for the Planning Advisory Committee of the Township of North Huron to consult with the public on 1, the official plan amendment to the North Huron official plan, and 2, the zoning bylaw amendment identified above. The requirement for the public meeting to be held pursuant to sections 17 and 21, 26, part 9 of the Planning Act, RSO 1990 as amended, and is circulated as directed by section 3 in the Ontario Regulation 543 from 06, Amendment O Regulation 467 of 09, and section 5, Regulation 545 of 06, amended Ontario Regulation 470 of 09 of the Planning Act as amended. Okay, Laura.
Let's see if we can get this started. And that should take a minute to come on. Okay, good evening. So this is the public meeting for the joint official plan amendment number 11 and the zoning bylaw amendment for the same property, 13 John Street East. Let's give this a minute to come on. Okay. So the background for this official plan amendment and zoning amendment is that North Huron Township obtained this property during the demolition of the former manse that was located beside the existing church on this property. North Huron owned the property for a couple of years, and the former manse was severed off, once it was vacant, was severed off of the church and existed as a separate property. Vacant property was decided by council and North Huron staff to be put up for sale, and staff was directed to proceed with the official plan amendment and the zoning amendment for the property as part of the sale. So this is the 2015 aerial photo of the property, so it's currently vacant. The official plan amendment, right now in the North Huron official plan, the property is designated community facility, same as it was when the manse existed on it. It was part of the church property. The proposed land use designation change for the amendment is to change it to residential. This will permit permit the residential development on it. And this proposed land use change is supported by the official plan. Sections of the official plan in the urban settlements area, of which Wingham is identified, encourages intensification and infill, as well as appropriate land use development compatible with surrounding uses. So there are several streets just west of this property that are currently medium density residential, as well as zoned R2, which is also the corresponding zoning amendment as part of this public meeting. And as well, there is a main commercial corridor right to the west on Josephine Street, and other surrounding residential uses as well. So residential use is appropriate for this property by the way of surrounding compatibility, and as well the services are appropriate for there. So we received no public comments during the circulation period, but there were comments received by township staff regarding access. So this property does have frontage onto John Street, a sufficient amount, but it doesn't currently have access. So an access permit would need to be obtained. And that was said that wouldn't be an issue, as long as that any proposed development for the residential development would have adequate sight lines and visibility coming out onto John Street. And that would be at the time of the proposed development to be determined where the best entrance would be on the property. And then as well, the issue of if it needed a record of site condition was considered. And I solicited an opinion from a Ministry of Environment engineer who determined that because it was a manse, which is a residential use, it's now proposing to change officially to permit residential use. Therefore, there's no change in the use that was existing to what's being proposed. So a record of site condition wasn't required at this time. There's a photo of the subject property. This is looking east up John Street. And that's from across the road. Then as well, in addition to official plan amendment number 11, there is the zoning bylaw amendment to also change the zoning. Currently the zone is CF, community facility, and the proposed zone change is R2, residential medium density. So this would permit any permitted use in the current R2 zone, medium density. It's a flexible zone as far as allowing a wide range of residential development from a single detached 1 unit up to a quadruplex, which is 4 units. So space permitting, as well as access and parking limitations, there could be a variety of residential options for this property in that zone. Part of the official plan policy state that when there is a consideration for a medium density residential zone change, there should be things taken into consideration, including not exceeding maximum gross density of more than 30 units per hectare, which this, even considering if this was able to fit 4 units, it doesn't exceed that. Compatibility of scale, as I mentioned, there are several R2 properties zoned in the immediate area. Building height and character, at this time there is no proposed specific unit or building, but that would be taken into consideration at the time that a specific building was being proposed. And as well, pedestrian connections and proximity to community or commercial services. So again, it is walkable to Josephine Street and other service locations, and as well as some of the immediate services to the south and north. And there's a picture of the property. So it is recommended that official plan amendment number 11 is adopted and the proposed zoning bylaw amendment is approved by council. And as well, you'll see probably in the agenda for the Planning Advisory Committee, if you remember back in the fall, there was discussion with council and a motion. Bill 73 was a provincial bill passed saying that when council makes a decision and there have been comments received, when the notice of decision goes out for a planning decision, a statement should be included that if the comments received and reported to council had any effect on their decision, whether it was negative comments not in support and council took that into consideration, or if it was supportive comments or comments from an agency such as myself, the planner, other municipal staff, or a conservation authority, for example. So for the first time, I figured new year, good time to start incorporating that. So there is the chart on the agenda. Otherwise, hopefully you have access to that. I do have it here. It's not easy to read though. But if you're able to see it in the agenda, it's divided into 3 columns. The first column is numbered 1 to 8, and that is if you received no comments received, supportive comments, council agrees with the effects as put in the planning report, concerns received, concerns did not influence the decision, and then the column A, which is the middle column there, is the effects of the public comments, and then column B is the agency, which would include staff or the conservation authority or the health unit, for example. So to kind of take you through, this is an easy application. There were no public comments received. So this one would be, for example, 2 no comments received for the effect of public comments. But then for the effects of agency, column B, council would decide, you could talk amongst yourselves what you felt 1 to 8, and then you would put B after that, what you felt, which statement best represented how you came to the decision that you were making during the Planning Advisory Committee. So, wherever you want to go, if someone wants to throw one out, and if everybody feels like that one summarizes kind of how you felt about it. But you can do that also after you make your motion. So you can make your motion, and then someone can say, then you can have your discussion so that it's reflecting how you made your decision. So I just thought I would bring that up now.
Councillor Lloyd.
I move for approval.
Okay, seconder. Councillor Hallahan. Discussion? All in favor? Carried.
So Maura, we will require 2 motions, one for the official plan amendment and one for the zoning bylaw.
Yes, because they will be passed as separate bylaws.
I'll move the
Zoning.
zoning bylaw.
Okay. Site enrichment amendment. All in favor? Carried. What is your pleasure? Do you want to pick an option out of
Does anyone need to see
no
the copy of
received and
those?
2A. For 2A.
2A? Okay. Does that,
And then there would be one from column A and one from column B, if there's, because there's usually the public
Yeah.
comment and the agency.
Would it be 2B then?
So to review I'll review I can always, also, especially if it's a longer presentation, review the comments received. So in this case, no public comments are received, and the comments I received from agencies, including town staff and the municipal engineer, or sorry, not municipal, the MOE engineer were supportive of this application. And that they were regarding specifically the record of site condition and the access permit.
That would then be
3B.
3B, right?
Yeah. So those both look good. So then those statements would be what's now included in the notice of decision that goes out for this application. So this will get easier as we do it, and I can each print you out a copy to keep at your desk too, so you can reference it.
Okay,
Okay, great.
so
So council's in agreement with those statements.
in the interest, do I still should read some of the preamble of what happens at the meeting, or?
Number 9 and 11.
Okay. If a person or public body does not make oral submissions at a public meeting or by making written submissions to the Township of North Huron before the bylaw is passed, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision of the Township of North Huron to the Ontario Municipal Board and may not be added as a party to the hearing of an appeal before the Ontario Municipal Board, unless, in the opinion of the board, there are reasonable grounds to add the person or public body. Members of the public are asked to provide comment. If there are any comments regarding the official plan, Amendment 11, to the North Huron official plan, or there are any comments regarding the proposed North Huron zoning bylaw amendment. And 11, the zoning bylaw procedure following the meeting. This is a public meeting of the Planning Advisory Committee, not a council meeting. Thus, a decision of the council may or may not be made this evening. If the bylaw is passed by council, the clerk is required to send notice of the passing of the zoning bylaw and notice of adoption of the official plan amendment to all persons and agencies notified of this public meeting. There is a 20-day objection period from the time notice of passing of the bylaw has been mailed by first-class post, wherein submissions or letters of objection or support in respect to the passing of the bylaw will be received by the clerk. There is a 20-day appeal period from the day after the notice of decision is mailed by the County of Huron for the official plan amendment. If an objection is received and an appeal is lodged with the Ontario Municipal Board, and at that point the township no longer has any control over the time factor involved. If the bylaw is passed and no objections are received within the objection period, the clerk certifies that the zoning bylaw is in force and of effect as of the date of its passing, and the notice is forwarded to the County of Huron Planning and Development Department. If no appeals are received during the appeal period for the official plan amendment, the County of Huron mails a notice advising the amendment is in full force and effect to all persons and agencies notified of this public meeting. And
I think it's just 14.
I thought it was going to be another long one, but that there being no further business before the Planning Advisory Committee, the public meeting do hereby adjourn at 7:20, 7:22. Trevor and Yolanda. All in favor? Carried.
We'll get better at that chart run. Easier.
Okay, thank you, Laura.
Thanks.
Yeah, okay. So, is going right to 6.6.1.
Yes.
Okay, moving to 6.6.1. Oh, Richard, was there?
We have to reconvene that meeting. And
Okay, yep. Okay, Trevor and James. Motion for reconvening the council meeting. All in favor? Thank you, Richard.
There's two more under that one as well.
The 6.61
5.1.
or 5.1? Okay. And that the council of the township of North, no. Yeah.
So we've reconvened and the council has to pass the motions. Could you just pass them to Ian?
That the council of the township of North Huron hereby adopt by bylaw official plan amendment number 11 to the North Huron official plan, the notice of adoption and the clerk's record to be sent to the county of Huron for a decision as per section 17 brackets 23 of the Planning Act. Councillor Knott, Councillor Sype, all in favor? Carried. And that the council of the township of North Huron hereby accept the recommendation of the Planning Advisory Committee that the amendment to the zoning on Plan 414 parts lots 6 and 7 West Center Street, registered plan 22R5898, Part 1, Wingham Ward, better known as 13 John Street East, Township of North Huron, be approved. Councillor Hallahan, Councillor Sype. All in favor? Carried. Okay. Now we can move to 6.61. Thank you. And everybody has read this. What is your pleasure, council?
Does anyone have any questions? Or?
Any questions on this report?
Yeah, it's the Human Resources and Health and Safety Systems Review.
Councillor Hallahan?
Chairman, we're gonna reposition this student. So with what we get with shared services, we're looking at about, it's really gonna cost us about $1,500 extra roughly, or $1,600.
Yeah,
right?
that is dependent upon whether or not the shared services is willing to use the student. So that has not been presented to Morris Turnberry Council at this time. I think that, we have been waiting on a lot of our human resources program review and our health and safety review for a long time in favor of this project. And yet we really can't wait any longer. So we need it to support our existing departments, and I would like to move forward with the project on our own. If there is an opportunity to share it with our partners and they're willing to do so, we would be willing to do so. But at this time, I really think we need to focus on some of our own internal needs as North Huron, and that means to move forward with this health and safety program and also getting our policies up to.
Councillor Sype?
One thing I like about this is that we're taking some initiative to get our own house in order, and we may learn some things through this update that that our partners may take advantage of, which is not going to come at a free price. They have to be part of the discussion and that. And I think I like the avenue in which we're not going to wait any longer. I don't think we can wait any longer. Our managers, and I don't think council can wait any longer. And the fact that we've been talking about HR policies and health and safety issues that we've potentially could have if they don't get reviewed. So, I like the process. I think it's a good idea to reevaluate where some summer students and staff go, because I think this is definitely more of a, in my mind, a higher priority than where those potentially resources were dictated in the last few years, in my mind. So
I think the one thing we also need to realize is that the shared service employees is really a small percentage of the overall number of employees that North Huron has. We have a significant number of part-time and seasonal employees. On any given pay period, I think Kathy, you can confirm we're paying around 150 employees between full-time and part-time employees. And it is really important to have an adequate program in place. We'd like to make sure that we are revamping our student orientation program, and we have the students trained before they start work this year, and just looking at redeveloping our onboarding programs for new staff so that we're gearing them to success right from the beginning. So, it starts with reviewing our existing policy and identifying areas where it isn't working for us. In some cases, we may be starting from scratch on certain things. So,
Councillor Slade.
the one thing I wanted to just confirm, Sharon, with regards to this. So this is a review of our existing process or existing policies, and are they providing a report that would suggest revamp, changes, corrections, and then the idea is that staff, that resource that we provide potentially, if we approve that, would then be tasked with doing the update. It's not necessarily this company doing the update and then we reviewing it. Is that correct?
right. So are you speaking with respect to the health and safety review?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll let Richard speak to that because I think he's worked with that more closely.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah, so the documentation review is phase one, and what Public Services Health and Safety Association does is they take all of our existing policies and anything health and safety related that we have, they review it against the legislation, and then they identify any gaps in where we should be, but they don't necessarily come back with policies to fill in the gaps. They identify them and then say, okay, this is what you need to work on. And then that's where the student, we're hoping to be able to utilize the student to help us develop some of those policies. And then potentially phase two is PSHSA coming in and assisting that if required for some of the more advanced things that we may need assistance with. And the training, if they identify gaps in training, they can offer those training courses to us as well.
Okay, Councillor Vauden.
One thing I was not able to figure out was really what percentage of our total human resources policy would be affected by this. I mean, I can see where health and safety touches almost everything, but are we going to end up with a pretty complete analysis of our human resources policy?
It would be my guess that we're going to be looking at 100% of the policy. It will be a complete and comprehensive review. I met with the county CAO last week, and they just finished revamping their entire HR policy. They actually hired Fred Dean and Nigel Bell Chamber to redo all of their policy, and she is willing to share it with us free of charge as a starting point. And she has also offered assistance from her staff to our student to be able to work through some of the processes. So I was really appreciative of the offer and support from the county as we work through this process. So Kathy and Richard and I are going to meet this week, and we're going to develop a work plan for the student that will include, a process on how we get started with this work. And there's a lot of work to do in really a short period of time, but we might as well jump in and get started.
James?
This student, do we contact Georgian College to get the student that's already looking into this area, that
Yes.
they're kind of have their feet on the ground ready to go?
Yes, so we actually, he was actually in today, so he's come and visited me a couple of times, and he's ready to start ASAP. So I'm really hoping that you will approve this, because the term starts now. So his name is Jared Weiser, and he is the son of Jan McKeg Weiser. Some of you may recognize her as the doctor recruitment person from Wingham. And he is a second-year Georgian College student. He had a previous placement at LTI, so did some HR work with them in his last placement term. And already in our initial meetings, he is bringing forward some ideas from things that he assisted with implementing at LTI, and has also said that he has some resources there that he can contact just to help him with process and that sort of thing. So I'm hoping that you will approve and we can get started immediately.
I'll make a motion that we proceed as outlined.
And you're seconding, James? Okay. All in favor? Carried. Okay. Moving to 6.6.2, the Blythe Festival Marketing. What is your thoughts on that one, Council? Bill?
I'll actually make a motion right away that we proceed with this. This has been probably the one bright light in our marketing and promotion for the municipality over the past few years. And in fact, if I'm not mistaken, it was 20,000 at one point in time, was it not?
I thought so.
Yeah, so we've actually getting more for less. So
Okay, that is there, I took that already. Is there any further discussion on this? All in favor? Carried. Okay. So there's just the usual AMO stuff and correspondence. So,
In the previous list of correspondence, there was a letter from the province of Ontario regarding school closures. I wonder if I could have a copy of that.
You're making a note of that, Kathy?
You mean the last meeting?
Sorry?
You mean the last meeting?
And earlier on in the consent agenda, there was reference to correspondence.
From AMO there.
Yeah, and 4.3.
Not from AMO, no, it was a letter from the Premier of Ontario regarding a submission that we put in regarding school closures.
Okay.
It would be uncopied correspondence, so we can get you a copy of that and
That's great, thanks.
forward it to you.
Okay. Well, moving to the Reeves activity report. For New Year's Eve, I was at the Belgrave Community Center for a good party, even though it was a very small attendance. And on the Sunday, January 1st, I was down to Blythe, and while I missed seeing the dog sleds doing that, I understood there was well over 100 over to watch that, and around the, I guess, music and bonfire, there was still well over 100 there, so that it was gratifying to see the Blythe 140 group have good attendance and beautiful weather for that, and may they keep rolling along good. I'll go to letting council members, if they have any other reports. Councilor Knott.
I'd just like to congratulate the 140th committee for their work and efforts. Unfortunately, I had a prior commitment that we couldn't attend, but I understand that everybody had a good time. It was very well done, so kudos to them. For anybody who's interested in what happened with the petition, by the way, because county council decided after the fact to change the timing requirements for a request to meet at the county council, I was refused the January 4th date, and so instead of going to a committee of the whole or committee, the next county council meeting will be February the 9th, I believe. I believe it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have requested informally, and we'll be getting a position there to present the petition at county council for the first meeting in February. So all are welcome to attend in case anybody wondered what happened. And I actually know it was erroneously reported on the radio by my FM that the petition had been presented, so I don't know where they were reading their news, but their news wasn't exactly accurate. So in case you wondered, the news report was erroneous.
Okay, thank you. Is there anything else? Is there any requests at this time by council? No motion. We moving right to bylaws. Okay, and that bylaw 1, 2017, being a bylaw to appoint statutory officials to the corporation of the Township of North Huron, be introduced, read a first and second, third, and final time, signed by the Reeve and Clerk, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Deputy Reeve Campbell, Councillor Hallahan. All in favor? Carried. And that bylaw number 2, 2017, being a bylaw authorizing the borrowing of money to meet current expenditures of council of the Township of North Huron, be introduced, read a first, second, third, and final time, signed by the Reeve Clerk and engrossed in the bylaw book. Councillor Vauden, Councillor Ritzman-Tenenga, all in favor? Carried. And that bylaw number 3, 2017, being a bylaw of the corporation of the Township of North Huron to amend official plan amendment number 11 to the North Huron official plan, be introduced, read a first and second and final time, signed by the Reeve Clerk and engrossed in the bylaw book. Councillor Sype, Councillor Knott, all in favor? Carried. And bylaw number 4, 2017, being a bylaw to amend the zoning, on plan 414, parts lots 6 and 7 west, Center Street, registered plan 22R5898, part 1, better known as 13 John Street East, Wingham Ward, Township of North Huron, by changing community facility to residential medium density, be introduced, read a first, second, and third, and final time, signed by the Reeve Clerk and engrossed in the bylaw book. Councillor Sype and Councillor Hallahan, all in favor? Carried. And that bylaw number 5, 2017, being a bylaw to appoint persons, including council members, to various boards, committees, and associations, be introduced, read a first and second and third and final time, signed by the Reeve clerk, to be engrossed in the bylaw book. Deputy Reeve Campbell, Councillor Vaughn. All in favor? Carried. Is there any announcements? Well, we'll jump right to 13. And we need a motion to go in camera. Councillor Sype, Councillor Vaughn, all in favor? Carried. Okay, we'll have a short recess if you want.